Gregory, guess what we're doing today?
I have no clue. You got to fill me in.
Well, we are going to be talking to a representative from the Experiment in International Living. Do you know that organization takes young kids overseas, to various countries, and to do cultural immersion programs?
Well, they're experimenting on the kids. What are they doing?
No,
Experimental surgeries?
Gregory.
Do they do the knee surgery? I need a
Listen.
knee surgery.
No, it's Experiment in International Living.
Oh,
And it's today right here on the Veronica Harris Show. Stay tuned.
can't wait to hear about this one.
And we're back with our special guest today. And Gregory, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Can't wait. Something I want to do. You know, everybody talks about travel, but sometimes you can't afford to travel. But if you do it young enough, then you can scratch it off your bucket list then.
That's true. And so I'd like to welcome our guest, Mr. Shadi Elfaham from the Experiment in International Living. How are you?
I'm well, Veronica. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you
Good.
for being here. So, getting right into it. So, you are with the Experiment International Living, and that organization specializes in taking young people on cultural exchange programs.
Yeah, precisely. So the Experiment International Living is actually the flagship program of an international organization called World Learning, which focus on development and education in about 150 countries all over the world. So like you said, what we specialize on is sending high school students on really life-changing programs during the summer to go to our 20 programs in different countries on 5 continents in the world, live with the host family, and just immerse themselves in the culture.
Okay. So I just want to touch on one of the things that you said earlier about immersion. Now, there are a lot of different programs that are out there that a student or young person could choose. But I think what makes the experiment different is the total immersion, cultural immersion.
Yes. The main pedagogy on our programs that we use is really living like a local with locals. So the student gets to go to the host country, interact with their host host family, interacts with peers, similar ages in that country, in a meaningful way to explore the country and the culture. As a local in that country would be doing it, not necessarily as a tourist. Mm-hmm. And so that's where this whole 1932 group came from. Our founder, Dr. Donald Watt, dissatisfied with the the political realm and everything that was happening at that time. He thought that he will be he would send 23 group of students on a boat to Germany to kind of get to learn about the people there, on a B2B or, face to face on a human level, and kind of interact and immerse themselves in the culture in order to be ambassadors when they come back and really teach the American people about that.
So you said, when you send them over, it's a life-changing experience. What do you see from the young students that you send over? What type of changes do you see once they get back?
A lot of changes. A lot of changes in leadership skills. Our programs are designed specifically to build leadership skills. So when you're traveling in a group of 10 to 15 students from all parts of the US, sometimes from all parts of the world, it's such a diverse cohort that you kind of get exposure to different backgrounds, different stories, in addition to the different story and the different culture of the country that you're in.
Right.
So leadership skills, communication skills, really,
Right,
a lot of our programs have participants on them that have never spoken that language before. And so they really start to build their, communications toolkit in order to be able to communicate in other ways other than languages in the beginning in order to survive, whether it's body language, whether it's understanding, facial expressions, and really just getting outside of your comfort zone. That's a big decision. That's a big leap of faith that for you as a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old to take. That's very brave. And so with that bravery comes a lot of learning and a lot of independence building. A lot of our students end up writing their college essays mostly centered on their experience on a month study abroad program.
Well, I think everything that you said, I can totally relate to it. Full disclosure, I was a leader for the experiment for three separate occasions.
Yeah.
And, I told the students, I learn from them just as much as hopefully, you know, they learn from me or from the experience that they're going through. And I can see those changes, like someone who maybe have been quiet, kind of kept to themselves, but then, you know, they were put in a situation where maybe they had to talk or they had to do something that they were uncomfortable with because they never had to do it before, and just to see them grow and blossom. And I also think that when you get a chance to see people whom maybe you thought weren't like you, but what you end up seeing is that they are very much like you.
Yes.
I think that, you know, that takes away some of that fear and some of that negativity that can come when you don't know somebody. But just
Absolutely.
to talk about the actual programs now, your programs are also a little bit different because they are thematic, they're theme based. So all the every program that a student would go on has a theme.
Absolutely. So we have about 20 programs, like I said, on 5 continents. And so in addition to the exposure and the immersion in the culture and the language that comes with every program in any country where we're program, each specific program comes with a specific theme as well, where students get to participate on workshops, you know, go to site visits to learn about these themes. So some of these themes may be, you know, culture and the arts. Some of them are about sustainability and the environment or ecology. Or if someone wants, you know, exposure to peace, politics, and human rights, they might want to go to Germany, where the theme of that program is on international relations and the EU. And so there are really a lot of benefits here. In addition, you know, to the culture and language immersion, this could be a good opportunity for a student who wants to explore and learn more about, you know, sustainability, ecology, etc., or even international relations. Maybe they want to study it in college. Maybe that's their career trajectory, to just kind of get a brief exposure to these themes through the workshops and site visits in the summer.
And this can also be like the stepping stone to like a career for them.
Absolutely.
You know, they can be exposed to something. Maybe I know the Netherlands, they have they focus on LGBTQ
Yes.
rights and the issues that go along with that community. So they may become an advocate for that, or they may want to make them get more into studying law so they can help, you know, make sure that the laws are equitable for everybody.
Absolutely.
So that is awesome. I know the one that I went on, the one in Australia was more about ecology and culture. So we really got to see the different parts of Australia and like almost like the different ecosystems that were involved. And just, you know, getting to know that was really exciting. And then when we went to Ireland, it was more about you know, young people leadership training, because I think there was a conference that we went to, and it was just awesome to see those young people get together and just communicate and collaborate and just, wow, amazing stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, I think a lot of high school students, which is a lot of high school students nowadays, are starting to get a lot more involved. A lot more involved in contemporary issues. So the idea of you traveling to Germany, for example, or to Jordan and actually visiting a refugee camp one day as part of your program itinerary, and be able to see hands-on the work of international humanitarian organizations for these refugees on a day-to-day basis, that is really eye-opening for them. And, you know, from there, I think a lot of interests start to be sparked in these students.
And that's also what's different about this program, is you don't just see the good stuff. You know, you get to see the day-to-day issues that some of these people in these countries have to deal with. Like if it's working, you know, with the refugee camps, or, you know, if it's having to build a well to have clean water. So, and it helps develop the empathy for other people as well, which I think is so important.
I love that word. Empathy is it's a huge thing that you know, that our participants come up with. It's kind of, you know, take yourself from your day-to-day life and see what you might be taking for granted here back home, that a lot of people, millions of people out there are not. You know, I was in South Africa on our program for a site visit this past summer, and it was a big thing that a lot of the students on that program came with is the scarcity of water. In every guest house, or, you know, in every place that they went to, there were always signs all over, and people telling them, please conserve waters. If you're taking showers, put a bucket so that you can use that gray water that's coming out of your body and maybe flush the toilet with, or water plants with. And so a lot of people were like, wow, look at that. We take water for so much granted here back home, and now it's eye-opening about what others in the world don't.
So y'all would going to start talking about some of the not so pretty things that you might see, like a refugee camp, and that's just what I was wondering. And forgive me, but I have to ask: when it goes wrong, what does that look like? Because nothing works right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So when what happens when it goes wrong? What kind of experience is that?
What do you mean by when it goes wrong? Like if it's an uncomfortable situation or a non-safe situation or something like that?
Yeah,
Or,
like,
okay.
when something happens unfortunate that, like it doesn't always work out like we draw up. What would that experience be
That's
like?
a great question. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the interview, we've been programming since 1932, right? So we have 87 years of experience on our record here. And with that comes a lot of experience in risk management and health management. And so we work with in-country partners in the different countries where we program. These partners are locals of that country. They're natives of the country. And they help us quite a bit in terms of vetting the exercises that we do, the places that we go, the site visits, all of that. We also are supported by International SOS, which is a risk management company that helps us with any kind of health related matters. We've had to do if we have to do like an evac for a helicopter evac, it gets to that point.
Right.
If it gets to that point, they are ready to do that for health issues. So we definitely have systems in place. Our parent organization, World Learning, also implements a variety of government programs. And so with that, really our ceiling of risk management has to be quite high in order for us to be in working relationship with them.
I would just say, as a leader, first of all, the training that you get as a leader is pretty intense.
Yes.
They go over everything, like everything you could possibly think about. Even if you think, wow, why would that happen? No, they talk about it, so you get trained in that. And I mean, I think the worst thing that happened is I fell playing the game with the kids, and I sprained my knee, so I had to go to the doctor. But that was just simple and easy, and I didn't even miss a beat. So I mean, if anybody's wondering, is this a safe program? It's very safe. I mean, trust me. No stone is left unturned when it comes to training. But we are up against it. It's time for a breakdown. So we will be right back, and we're going to have Shadi tell us a little bit about himself and his story. Okay?
Sounds
So
good.
we'll be right back. Your story, because you have a pretty interesting one, but just again, sort of like a brief circle back around to the history. The Peace Corps is a part of the experiment in international living history. How so?
Absolutely. So Sergeant Schreiber, the architect really for the Peace Corps, was actually an experiment student himself in high school. So he participated on a program. He then came back as a leader to lead a group abroad, and he did it twice actually. And through that, that's how he was able to actually craft the mission of the Peace Corps, and was later able to, work with President Kennedy to establish the Peace Corps.
Oh, wow.
So if you look at the mission and the vision of war learning, of the experiment and the Peace Corps, you'll see a lot of similarities because they came from someone who is our alumnus really. In addition to that, we also trained our the first group of Peace Corps volunteers. Way back in the day on our SIT Graduate Institute in Vermont.
Brattleboro.
Brattleboro,
Brattleboro,
where that leader training
yeah,
happens.
that leader training is. That leader training. So now, for most of the people that do go into the experiment in international living, the students go outbound. They are from here, different parts of the country, or they could be from different other countries, and they can meet up in that country, that final destination country.
Mm-hmm.
But you were sort of different because first of all, you're from
Egypt,
Egypt,
born and raised.
And you did an exchange program where you came.
Yeah, so
you came here.
I came here. Yep, I lived in Iowa with a host family.
Iowa.
Yes.
Now hold on.
Sent you to Iowa?
Now you.
Hey, careful, man. That's home to me here. So.
Okay. All right.
Now Egypt, okay, on the continent of Africa, it's pretty
Right.
warm.
Right.
But much of what part of Egypt?
I'm from Alexandria, right on the Mediterranean.
Okay, so a
Yep,
very
to the north.
cosmopolitan
Yes,
city.
yes, yes.
Cleopatra, she was very big on, a lot of history there.
Yes.
And you go to Iowa.
Yeah.
Just the difference in temperature.
Yeah, I was also there in 2006 where they had like a huge snowstorm. It was so huge that when it melted, the city was flooded actually.
Oh, wow.
And so I got the full experience. I will say though, it was the best year of my life, and I met some of the nicest people in the U.S. during my first time in the U.S. really was in Iowa. I thought that was great. Again, this whole thing about being ambassador and, culture immersion and educating as well about your culture. I think a lot of people were asking often if I lived in pyramids, if I'm like, yeah, I actually came to school with a camel. He's, parked in a parking lot. And, it was just so funny, those conversations and how you're able, again, to change the world, one friendship at a time, one conversation about a time. Does Egypt really do that? And I'm like, do Americans really all they eat is hot dogs and pizza? No, we actually have food, and we have. It's yeah.
Because Alexandria, even from a historical perspective, has always been a very diverse city.
Yeah.
A very diverse city, very cosmopolitan. Intellectual. I mean, the great Alexandria Library and things of that nature. And then to come to Iowa, which is a bit, Iowa's nice, but let's just say the population is more homogeneous.
Yeah.
Less diverse. How did you reconcile with that?
I think my host family played a great role in that, into, kind of having honest conversations with me and acknowledging, the issues that they're dealing with and the differences between both cities. Honestly, for me at the time, as a 15-year-old, I was just shocked at the fact that I was expecting to be placed in a city like Miami or New York City that I see in TVs, and I was like, a lot of corn, basically.
A lot of corn.
And so the way I navigate, I still think I gained a lot from it, and there was so much to learn about the American people that we don't hear about back in Egypt. So much to learn about the commonalities that both the Egyptian people and the American people have, and being able to communicate that to people in Iowa, but also taking that and communicating it to people in Egypt and kind of trying to bridge those gaps and correct some of these misconceptions.
Well, we have a lot of commonalities because when I first went over, when I went overseas for an exchange student for a year, I was 15 when I left, going on 16. So I kind of understand, as a person, a young person like that, going someplace. I went to Sweden. And I was out up all the way in the north, and let's just say black people were not common. We were not common. I know the strangest thing that happened to me what was the strangest or one of the strangest things that you encountered when you were in Iowa?
First day, I arrived to Iowa. I get picked up by my host family, and we're ready to go home, and they have the signs, "Welcome, Shadi," and it's all flowers and unicorns, and I'm like, yes, this is it. We made it. And on the way, my host dad stops and he was like, hold on real quick, I'm gonna go grab some food. He goes into Pizza Hut and I'm like, yes, it's starting already, some good American pizza. And I even get more excited when he comes out of the door with like 6 boxes of pizzas, right? I'm like, yes, we're gonna feast tonight. So we go home, they serve each one of us like 1 piece on a plate. We eat, I finish my piece, and I'm waiting, right? While everyone else is serving themselves. Now in Egyptian culture, if you're at a guest's house, even if you're at your aunt's house, you never serve yourself at a dining table. That's just considered rude, right, culturally. So, the sign, if you want to get more, is that you finish your food and you wait. As soon as you wipe your plate, empty, they will just automatically serve you. Obviously, that is not the way things work in Iowa. It's help yourself. Did not know that, so I didn't ask for any food. So at the end, probably there were some language barriers as well because I didn't speak any English. Wow. And when I say any, I did not speak any English.
That was like when I went to Sweden, I spoke no Swedish.
Yeah. So the language barriers happened too because they probably asked at some point or said you can help yourself with more, and I was like, no thank you, which is another Egyptian thing. You have to, if someone asks you if you want more, you just say no thank you, no thank you. And then maybe the 3rd or 4th time you'll be like, okay, sure.
Wow.
So anyway, we finish, we get off the table. I'm still hungry. I'm like, 20-hour flight or something like that. And I keep doing that for the day after and the day after and the day after. So I'm like, okay. I go to CVS and I ended up buying a bunch of Pringles, Skittles, M&M's, Snickers, all that good American snacks, putting it in the room. And after every single meal, I would go home. I would go to my room and eat more to get full. Next thing that happens, I start getting all these pimples on my face, right?
A lot of sugar, not good.
Yeah, and so my coordinator comes to me and she's like, okay, what the heck is going on with you? So I tell her the situation. She's like, wait, what? Now, from my side of the story, I think my host family are just cruel. They're starving me. They're, just not giving me enough food. So she goes, she speaks with the host mom, and I remember the host mom just started tearing up when she heard that. She thought I did not like the food they gave me. She thought I did not like her cooking. To them, I'm like this exchange student who's not willing to immerse themselves in their culture and food. And so that really taught me a lot about communication. So, some of the skills we talk about is communication.
Yeah.
How to communicate your learning process, your barriers of learning, and also advocating for yourself. That's one thing I learned about, ask for more food, advocate for the pizza.
Yeah, advocate for the pizza. But then you also had to kind of overcome the learning, because for 15 years, this is how you were raised, you were brought up, and this is what you do.
Yeah.
And now you're in a situation, and it's like, okay, how do you just overcome with something that you've done for so long that's basically ingrained in you?
Yeah.
So, it was a lot of that. Well, luckily in Sweden, I didn't, none of that. I was a chance to eat, but no, I remember they kept a Swedish English dictionary next to the mom, I guess, and every time if we were trying to say something or she needed to say something to me, we couldn't find the words, I'd just be sitting there, she'd pull out the look, oh, okay, this way, and then,
Right.
But I know for my coordinator who came, he was like, do not speak any English to her, she must learn Swedish, and
Yes.
But, they forced me, but I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did. I know when it's learning in that sort of situation, they say after about 6 months, you should pick it up, and you'll know because you'll start dreaming in that
Start
language.
dreaming in the language.
Did that happen to you too?
Oh, yeah.
About the 6 months?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
I woke up freaked out in the middle of the night because I saw my dad and my mom, who I've never seen speak any other language than Arabic, which is, Egypt's language. They were speaking in English. And I woke up and I was like, whoa, is this really happening? And then I talked to my coordinator and she was like, congratulations, you're officially immersed in the culture. And
Nice.
actually it works because right about that day, I was very comfortable with my my speaking skills and comprehension skills. And there's a lot, and it's hard.
Did you find yourself tired? Like, you were in school. When I would come home, I would literally just pass out on the bed because I would just be so tired trying to understand.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Back in the day, also, there were no cell phones that you had Google Translate on demand anytime. It was, I found myself tired majority of the time trying to translate, between Arabic and English.
Thank you.
I quickly decided to stop doing that and just keep it all in English while I'm there. The lack of cell phone and communication modes helped a lot as well because I was not speaking with my family back home as frequent.
They don't allow for it, yeah.
Which always it's not just they don't allow, there was no Facebook Messenger, there was none of that, which was a blessing really because We always tell our participants when they're about to go on program, every time you check that Instagram post or take that FaceTime call, you're officially off program. You know, if you're there, immerse yourself in the program, immerse yourself of everything that's happening around you, in order to get the most out of it.
Right.
And so I was fortunate enough to not have, you know, that easy communication.
Yeah, the same thing with here. You know, it was always like 6 hours. You know, we were 6 hours ahead, so I had to figure out when I wanted to call or whatever. But you know, not having that communication constant, and just having to figure it out, get through that homesickness
Yes.
and everything like that. But yeah, I can totally understand. And when I was a leader, you know, you want the kids to have their phones. You don't want to, you know, pick and choose your battles, but you really try to stress to them, please put your phone away. I mean, because to my thing, if you're on your phone, even if you're taking pictures, you're not experiencing,
Right.
and that's so important. And I think that's why this program, the experiment, is so, you know, they're big on experiences.
Experiential learning, right?
Yes,
That's how we
experiential
go
learning.
about it. Is, you know, we
Yes.
keep them busy. We make sure
Yes.
that, you know, they're busy. They're reflecting on the experiences. They're analyzing how they can, you know, take these experiences and leverage it really in their professional or college life, or really as personal growth. So experiential learning is, you know, will keep you busy on experiment programs,
is.
as you know.
Yes, there's a lot of cognitive function going on. And like I said, the trip is fun. It is meant to be fun, but there's a lot of time, not a lot of time, but there's, you know, built into the program, self-reflection, critical thinking. A lot of those things are all into the program. So that's why I like it, and I think it's an awesome program.
Absolutely.
So, all right, for kids, so who is this for? Like age group, what age group can they apply?
Yes.
You know, who?
Yeah, so we accept any high school student who have completed at least 1 year of high school and who is between the age of 14 and 18 years old, is eligible to participate on the program. Some programs require some kind of previous prerequisite of language experience, such as like 1 semester of Spanish or like 1 year of French or something like that, but a lot of our programs don't. For example, if you want to go to Jordan, which is an awesome program, by the way, you do not need to have any prior language experience with Arabic, because the theme of that program is language training. So they will be taking intensive Arabic language training and classes there. And it's not, as you know, it's not just traditional classes. It's
Yeah.
through, you know, cooking lessons. It's
Yep.
through dance lessons. It's through a little bit of class time, a little bit of this. So, you know, it's switching up.
I know, because when my group was in Poland, we did during the homestay, they did volunteer work. So every day I would go out to the various organizations and check on them while they were doing their volunteer work. It was amazing. It was
Yes.
awesome. So that's who can go. Where can they go to find out more information? Like, what's the website?
Yeah,
Give us
so
the deets.
yeah, you got it. So experiment.org, that's our main website. You know, you can go there and, you know, you can look at all of our programs, our history, mission, vision, what we do about risk management, as well as found out about our very special, I'm going to give a shout out for the DC area essay contest scholarship here that's available for any high school students with the criteria that I just mentioned, to get $2,000 off of the tuition of any program.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yep. So anyone in DC, Maryland, Virginia, you know, or DC area, DMV, 35 radius from DC, can apply for that. It's a really unique chance for someone who likes writing, who wants to, you know, do an essay contest and participate on a life-changing program.
Well, believe it or not, time is up.
Already?
Yes, this was like, you were an awesome guest. This was so
Yeah.
much fun, so
Thank you.
informative. And, you know, we're going to, you know, put the stuff up on the credits. So if anybody didn't hear what we said, they can always check it out. I encourage any student that's interested, even if you not even 100% sure, just check out the website. See, it will change your life. I'm here to tell you. Shadi, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
coming.
Thanks for having me.
I love the experiment. I will always support the experiment. The show will support in any way that we can.
Awesome.
And just thank you for coming.
So can we ask the audience to ask questions for you in the comments?
Well,
Since you're a leader now?
well, I mean, this has to be edited and stuff
got
like
it,
that, but
Okay.
it's a good idea to work on that.
Yeah,
Okay, we need to
yeah,
work on our social media with that. But anyway, it is time for us to go. Thank you all for joining us here on the Veronica Harris Show, and we will see you next time. Gregory, what are you saying?
I didn't get to do that experiment in high school, and I was so homesick my first trip. try to get into an experiment at a young age while you're in high school.
All right then. See you all next time.
Homesick to death. Dying for some fried chicken.
Let me know.